The Gambia is the smallest African country on the mainland, a country surrounded by Senegal on all sides except on its western coast along the Atlantic Ocean. Its population is less than 3 million and football is one of the most popular sports in the country, along with wrestling and basketball. Before the 2021 African Cup of Nations, the Gambia national team had never qualified for a tournament in their history. The only tournament they had participated in up till that point was the Amilcar Cabral Cup, which they did not have to play qualifiers for. It was a tournament organized by the West African Football Union WAFU for the 8 Zone A teams. The competition ceased to exist in 2007, but not before Senegal's under-23 team won it. Basically, it was not a tournament of real significance. Gambian football was in turmoil for a long time, regularly getting into trouble with FIFA for a bunch of reasons. The internal struggle at the Gambia Football Federation was a persistent problem, causing FIFA to threaten to ban them several times, amongst other things. Eventually, in 2014, they received a 2-year ban by FIFA for falsifying documents of some of their under-20 players. This had a ripple effect on the country's prospects. To begin with, the ban meant that they were kicked out of the qualifiers for the 2015 African Cup of Nations. They were scheduled to play against Seychelles, but their opponents were awarded the tie. Also, the ban meant that no Gambian team could participate in any continental competition under CAF. Their entire football apparatus was in ruins. Due to issues within the country as well, especially due to former President Yahya Jammeh's tyrannical rule, people were migrating rapidly from the country, including their football talents, who were seeking opportunities to develop and play at the highest level. Things had indeed fallen apart. As FIFA and CAF stepped in to sort things out and they cooperated, showing a willingness to right the wrongs, the ban was partially lifted, allowing them to play the following year in the AFCON qualifiers for the 2017 tournament. That qualification campaign finished with no wins from 6 and Gambia last in their group, meaning that they once again failed to qualify for a tournament. But then two significant things soon happened. In 2016, Adama Barrow beat Yahya Jammeh in the presidential election, effectively ending his 22-year run in office. Through ECOWAS intervention early 2017, he was ousted from office and sent on exile. That change had an impact with Gambians home and abroad. Then in 2018, they hired nomadic coach Tom Saintfiet, who had previously guided Namibia 34 places up the FIFA rankings and done well with Ethiopia and Togo. At this point, Gambia had already lost the first game of their 2019 AFCON qualifiers and had not won a competitive game in 5 years. They were ranked 172nd in the world by FIFA. His debut against Algeria saw the team pull off a draw after going behind. They finally won a competitive game in November 2018 when they beat Benin Republic 3-1 at the Independence Stadium in Bakau, going into the final round of matches still in contention for an AFCON spot. Despite getting a brave draw away at Algeria, it was not to be as Benin Republic beat Togo to qualify. They may not have made it this time, but something had changed and they knew it. They had not only participated in the qualifiers, they had been competitive and actually been in it until the final hour. This team was on the right track. Saintfiet had gone on a mission to assemble the best Gambian players he could find across the world, including those who had left the country during the brutal Yahya Jammeh years, connecting them back to their roots and giving them a sense of pride as they represented their country. The rebuilding would continue ahead of the next one, with the goal being to qualify for the 2021 AFCON tournament. When he had first talked about wanting to qualify for AFCON at the time he arrived, it had sounded like a crazy dream. But after what the team had shown in these qualifiers, it started to look possible, despite the odds firmly stacked against them. The qualifiers for the 2021 African Cup of Nations began in November 2019. Gambia were placed in a tough group with DR Congo, Gabon, and Angola. DR Congo had played in the 4 previous AFCON tournaments, reaching the round of 16, quarterfinals, and semi-finals in the previous 3 tournaments respectively. Gabon had played in 2 of the previous 3 tournaments, although they had qualified as hosts for the 2017 tournament. They had the likes of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Denis Bouanga, and Bruno Ekwelemanga in their team. Angola had qualified for the previous tournament in 2019. Although they didn't qualify for the 2017 and 2015 tournaments, they had made 6 consecutive tournaments from 2006 to 2013. Gambia had their work cut out for them. Their first game was a tough away game in Luanda. Angola led after 3 minutes, but a brace by Hassan Cisse and one by Suleiman Mare ensured they went home with 3 points. It was a historic feat, as this was the first ever away win in competitive football for the country, in World Cup or African Cup of Nations qualifying. From that point, they did not look back. A draw with DR Congo and 2 further home victories against Gabon and Angola were enough to qualify them for their first ever major tournament. In fact, they did it in style, winning their group. By doing this, they became the lowest FIFA-ranked team to ever qualify for an AFCON tournament. While the world marveled at the phenomenal achievement, the team stayed grounded. They were not done yet. They had a lot more surprises in store. By the time the 2021 AFCON began, they had risen 22 places in the FIFA rankings compared to where they were when Saint Fit took charge of the team. It was testament to how well the team had performed and their meteoric rise from the ruins of years before. There was a new challenge in front of them, however, as they had been grouped against Tunisia, Mali, and Mauritania, who had all been in the same group at the 2019 tournament. In their first ever AFCON game, they faced Mauritania. Within 10 minutes, they had scored, and it was a beauty. Albi Jallo received the ball at the edge of the area and rifled a shot home past Mauritanian goalkeeper Babacar Diop. It was their first ever goal in a major competition. They kept their lead for the rest of the game, earning their first ever win at a major competition on their debut. The next game against Mali was a difficult one. Mali had beaten Tunisia and looked solid doing it. For the first 70 minutes, they had the lion's share of possession, laying siege to the Gambia goal. But Gambia held their own and competed well, thwarting all the Malian attacks. However, as the 80th minute approached, Mali won a penalty, and it was converted by Ibrahima Kone. But Gambia refused to stay down after this blow. They went in search of the equalizer and finally found it when they won a penalty of their own, Musa Barrow comfortably converting it. 1-1 it ended, and the debutants had claimed 4 points from their first 2 games. But it got even better. Former champions Tunisia were up next. They had garnered only 3 points from their first 2 games and came searching for a much-needed win. Again, Gambia weathered the storm, showing a resilience and solidity out of possession that was expected from vastly experienced teams. Just before halftime, Tunisia won a penalty. Saifuddin Jaziri stepped up to take it, but his effort was saved by Gambia goalkeeper Babouka Gaye. The Tunisians returned in the second half with more purpose, but they met a strong and well-drilled Gambian team who refused to bow to their more illustrious opponents. The game looked to be headed for a draw until the final minute of added time when a cross found its way to Albi Jallo. He lined up a shot and fiercely hit it past Bashir Ben Said in goal for Tunisia. The goalkeeper barely moved. Jallo's shot wasn't just a beauty, it was smartly taken. The debutants had won a second game against a big opponent. This was the point where everyone started to take notice. They had garnered 7 points out of 9 and finished second, level on points with the group winners, Mali, and earning automatic qualification for the round of 16. Nobody gave them a chance, but they had done it. The round of 16 clash was against Guinea, who had kept 2 clean sheets out of 3 to emerge from their group. In a tense game, the Gambians matched the Guineans strength for the first hour. Gradually, they started to push harder, eventually finding a breakthrough around the 70th minute mark. Musa Barrow received a neat pass from Youssoufa Bob, pushed it past the onrushing defender, and slid it past Ali Keita in goal for Guinea. They were ahead. Everyone was in disbelief at what this team was achieving. Guinea pushed hard for the remaining 20 minutes, but that strong Gambian defense repelled everything. Only a Malian penalty had gotten past them all tournament. The final whistle went and Gambia, the lowest ranked team to ever qualify for an AFCON tournament, were through to the quarterfinals on their tournament debut. This team had been ranked 150th in the world at the start of the tournament. It was a stunning achievement, and they did it conceding just one goal. Their reward was a quarterfinal clash against host Cameroon. They were up against tournament top scorer Vincent Abubakar, a big test for a defense that had been impregnable so far. The first half came and went in a flash, and Gambia was still in it. Goalless it was, but they had had to withstand a barrage of pressure from the relentless Cameroonians who were spurred on by the home crowd. Goalkeeper Gay even had to make a brilliant save to deny Abubakar, who had been getting chance after chance. Eventually, just after the second half began, they cracked. A cross found Carl Toko Ekambi, who made no mistake heading the ball past Guy. This was the first open play goal they had conceded all tournament. And once that resistance was broken, Cameroon created chance after chance as Gambia tried to get an equalizer until Ekambi doubled the lead. Eventually, this was a bit too much for them to handle. They lost 2-0, but with their heads held high. They had given the world a historic debutant tournament, one that would be talked about for a long time. Coach Saint Feet talked about his team not just being for the tournament, as the plan was to build something long-term, which would ensure they would keep qualifying for tournament after tournament. Instead of merely taking the pat on the back along with the adulation of the world and relenting, Gambia continued to work. The qualification group for the next AFCON tournament had Mali, Congo, and South Sudan. They qualified again with relative ease this time, winning 3 of their 6 games. And so they are back here again, ready to take AFCON by storm once again. This time, the world knows a lot more about them and what they are capable of. Despite being placed in what could well be the most difficult group of the tournament, with Senegal, Cameroon, and Guinea, there is great optimism regarding this team. They have already shown that they can hold their own, and the neutrals are excited to see them again. It remains to be seen how far they will go this time. Gambia have risen from their ruins and shown what is possible with hard work, dedication, smart work, and a solid plan. You will hear about them many more times. Just watch. What a story.